Yeah. Well, I got ready. Engage.
So this is who?
Fighters ready. Engage.
Hughes versus Ken. Build meter. That's good. Okay. Be patient, right? Parathrow ranges. So you have back throws that you can still. Okay. Now you can back up here. I wouldn't recommend standing in the corner too much. That was good. Good punish. Block the cross up. Okay, nice throw. So you have to back up. I feel like you're being a little too aggressive here. You have to pay attention to how much meter Ken has. Once you get this throw, you should back up and taunt. Because you're still at 2 taunts right now. You're not at 3 yet. And you don't have any meter to really make this work. So Ken's gonna fight back if you stand there. And just from that mistake alone, you gave up the corner pressure. You see. So just be aware of that. Oh, you got another throw, but then you got way up in his face. So a philosophy that you should be mindful of is if you have, regardless if you have the advantage or not, if you are standing in someone's face on their wake up, you are submitting not only him to a guess, but by effect, his guessing is your guessing. Because if he guessed Shoryu's, you are basically saying, assuming you attack, I'm guessing that he's not going to Shoryu here, or my confidence level is that he's not going to Shoryu. So you're putting yourself in a position where you are guessing in reverse. And when you have the advantage, the life advantage right here, and not enough meter, there's really no reason for you to be this close to him. Because anything he does, like forget about skill, right? Let's just say, no matter how skilled he is, if he's just garbage player, it doesn't really matter, right? If he guesses and it works out in his favor, you committed a really big mistake, which is you gave up all of the advantage that you have for a guessing spot, right? It's I don't know if you play poker, but poker is a game of skill, right? And when you are skillful in a game of skill, you have to be mindful to use your skill, because essentially, if the other player, the other poker player, is not as skilled as you are, when he does wild shit, he's essentially narrowing down your skill edge against him, because now he's forcing you to guess, right? So very similar concept. You're not throwing your hand away, but you're not using the skill and the position available to you to outplay him. So think about it like that. Don't do things that risk your advantage when you don't need to, right? If you're both at 0 life, it's going to come down to a guess, right? But let's say it's not Ken, and let's say it's Makoto or something. If you did the same thing against a Makoto, any type of guess that works out in his favor can potentially end the round. So even though you have a 45-50% life lead, you turned it into a 50-50, right? So just think about that from now on. So even if you did get that parry there, you couldn't convert much. The best you could have done is, if you're close, stand medium kick into slaps. Or if he's not as attack heavy, then you can get a command grab in. But for the most part, you standing there did not amount to anything, and then you got pushed out anyway. Now you could potentially die here. I don't know, right? So right here, did you see how he does not commit to being up close to you? Similar concept, right? He has the advantage here. He doesn't have the life lead, but you guys are pretty similar. You die in 1 hit, he dies in 1 hit, whatever, right? But he stays out in this range. He backs up because he does not want you to get a good guess in, right? If you woke up, oh, you don't have super. But if you did something crazy, he was not going to, you know, he wasn't. If you did something crazy, you were not going to beat him because he's spaced properly and he's blocking. Right? So you gotta one of your bad habits is exactly that, where you put my webcam on top so that you can see. One of the bad habits is where you after a certain reset, you go for that dash punch right here. Like this is the easiest thing that he can see, right? So think about it from his position. He just got hit out of the air. He can't do anything else besides wait for the landing, right? So in that time, he's just watching you. He doesn't need to worry about anything else. So he can see a dash punch coming. So this is bad, regardless if you switch your timing up or whatever. It's just not a good uh, thing to do, right? Because he's waiting for you. He can't do anything else. He doesn't have any other decisions to make. The only decision he needs to make is whether or not he parries when he lands or he blocks. That's the only decision he has to make. So, um, as you get better and better, you have to realize that you want to win by outplaying the opponent. You don't want to win because the opponent wasn't blocking or because something this or that happened. You want to win because you outplayed the opponent. You opened the opponent up, right? This is not a decision where you open the opponent up. This was the decision where I hope he's not blocking or I hope he messes something up. Does that make sense? I mean, sure, if you succeeded, you would have ended the round. If you did not, if he parried, then you would have lost. So it was a 50-50. But the point is, you made a decision that ultimately was just a guess because either it works or it doesn't work. You want to move away from that. You want to do things where, damn, uh, he really outplayed me. Things like that. So that's a good job. Uh, I wonder if you could have got something there. I think you might have maybe like at least attempted a jab slap there after you blocked that roundhouse. Like right here, or command grab. I think it would have been a punish. Um, so like that's bad because he died right there. He could have reversed the super. So a little bit of a sloppy scramble on both of your parts.
Are you ready?
But try to be mindful of decision making that is better. I don't know what that is. I think that was you trying to dash into command grab and you got a crouch roundhouse instead. Unfortunate, but sometimes that's how it goes. That's I get that just as often. So work on your execution. Again, do things that culminate in you opening him up. Don't do things that are wishful thinking. Like UOH into super is basically saying we're gonna guess here. Either you win this exchange or I win this exchange, but something's gonna happen. So be mindful of the state of the game right now. Like you're nowhere near killing him. He's nowhere near killing you. You both have meter, right? It's very early in the match. Here you should have taunted. Like the moment you recognize that the jump roundhouse would have hit, just immediately taunt. You should be safe. Because if he tech rolls, he moves back out here. If he doesn't tech roll, you recover in time. So being in this range is just not good. So forget about UH. Q doesn't have a UH. The only thing you use UH for is to displace yourselves so that he can whiff a throw and you can get a care back throw or punish. But don't UOH super. That's kind of desperate. And erase all dash punches from your game. It's just you use a dash punch to close distance after a super. You use a dash punch to punish something really bad. Otherwise, don't use a dash punch because people can see it. Even if it works on the opponents that you currently play, eventually it's not going to work anymore. So you want to stop relying on those type of things that work on lesser opponents but will not work on our stronger opponents. And even even if it works, right? Think about it this way. You use it on a stronger opponent and it works. That's just luck, right? He's supposed to be able to see it. The online element, whatever it is, right? The point in logic, the better opponent, the better player is not going to get hit by that. So if you erase everything else and you just think about it, that does this decision make sense? Is it a good decision? Ask those questions. Don't ask about whether it worked or not, because whether it actually worked does not matter. It's like a false flag, if you will. Being patient here is good. Okay, that's fine. So you got a little too greedy there. Now it is a bit. Hi, Murray. I actually don't watch InfoWars, so I have no idea what. I didn't realize that was a thing. A red herring. No, that's not it. A misleading result. See, that's how much you do. So block. You have a pretty decent advantage even now. You're in the corner, but he's not really afraid of the corner as much. Just as long as you're patient, you're gonna be able to get that care back throw. Because they have to get in to attack you. Okay, that's a good thought. But instead of jump short, do jump fierce, but earlier. That way he doesn't get that parry. Like, that was way too late. You can do it earlier. Like, if you read that he's gonna back jump, just commit to the jump fierce earlier. Okay, that's good. He didn't get the punish, but we lucked out. See, after blocking something or parrying something, you don't want to dash punch. It's so obvious. They can see it. All right. So I'm probably gonna hammer this home a lot, but don't dash punch. Okay. See, if you committed to a low parry there, immediately go into super. You end the round. So this was a case of poor planning. You have to be mindful of the game state, because the game state affects your decisions. Not every decision stays the same throughout the match. Not every parry has the same response. You need to be more mindful. I think you could have supered there. See, we're back to both of you are examining, right? Like right here. That makes sense. Thank you for the follow, Drosky. This is Zaidi. This is not a good decision, and you know why now, right? At the very least, you know why. You basically submitted both of yourselves to a guess. Okay, if he wake up sure you super, you lost. If he wake up and got hit, you won. Maybe if you can confirm it. But this is not a good decision. All right, you're in his face. Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, thanks for the follow, Riddler. Another poor decision. Like, you have to find things that are a bit safer to do. For instance, so you're here, right? Now, this thing doesn't. Okay. You now have one hit left to kill him. He has a little more, but essentially if he low forward supers, you're dead. So, in that situation, and he's waking up, you have to think about what kind of pressure you are exerting on him, right? So it could be he's going to feel pressure. Now the thing about pressure is that you standing there is enough pressure. You don't actually have to hit a button. You don't have to shimmy. You don't have to do anything. You standing here and him waking up in this corner with this amount of life, he's going to feel pressure regardless, right? So don't commit to something so quickly. If you stood there and you let him wake up, 2 seconds after he wakes up, he still feels the pressure, and you haven't done shit, right? You've just stood there. So think about that dynamic. The way corners work and spacing between the two opponents. If you're in reach of any button against him, he's going to feel pressure even if you don't hit a button at all. All right. So you have to account for when they wake up and they feel pressure, they're a little more inclined to commit to something. They might not, but they certainly do. And everybody has seen somebody wake up Shoryu or wake up Super and think that is the scrubbiest shit ever, right? Everybody's guilty of it. But if you really think about it, you are forcing them to wake up and guess, right? They're not making that decision lightly. They're making that decision because they feel like they don't have a choice. So if you are forcing them to guess and you got hit by the guess, you're equally at fault. So, if you ever have that thought like, oh my god, this fucking scrub, he just woke up Super for the 8th time and you got hit, that's your fault, right? So in this case, if he woke up Super, you would have lost, right? So try to make decisions that have a better net return. Because sure, you won here, but you could have easily lost. It was a 50-50. And you had corner position, and you had a little more life than he does. You don't want to throw it all away on a guess.
Fighters ready. Engage.
So, single hit buttons, don't do it. They're like, at least not crouch short, because crouch short doesn't do anything. All it does is give them parry fodder. You know what I'm about to say right here, right? Block a fireball, do a dash punch. Erase that from your game, alright? To answer your statement, to be honest, I thought he was going to jump. That's why I backed Roundhouse. If you thought he was going to jump, there are much better things to do. For instance, you can jump back fierce yourself, preemptive. You're completely safe if he does anything. And you snuff out his jumps. So that is certainly a much better choice than back Roundhouse. Right? Jump back fierce is not going to get hit by Shoryu. It can trade. At worst, it'll trade. But for the most part, if you space yourself properly and do a jump back Roundhouse, you're likely, or jump back fierce, you're likely going to be safe. And you snuff his jumps. And, like I said, the pressure is still on him. The pressure does not get alleviated much just because you did a jump back fierce. So think about that, alright? But, again, these fucking dash punches, get rid of them. So your anti-air reactions are don't get too handsy here. You have to patiently block. So you're way too many exchanges here. Like this entire 10-second sequence, you are not being patient and you're trying to fight back. The thing we have to recognize is Ken has a much better neutral toolbox than Q. I mean, Q's got some nice buttons. However, Ken has better buttons. So if you just compare the two and you throw them together, like imagine, okay, you take two people who have absolutely no idea how to play this game. What are they gonna do? They're just gonna mash this constantly, right? You see those GameStop fighters, right? You know, ever go to a GameStop and there's a fucking demo of Street Fighter 4 or some shit, and you have these two people who have no idea how to play the game, and they're just like, doing this the entire time, right? If you took two people like that and you gave them two characters, Ken and Q, guess what? The Ken is statistically gonna win more just because his buttons are better, right? So if they're mashing, Ken's gonna come out on top, usually, right? So take that concept and apply it to what just happened in those 10-15 seconds just now. You and he tried to duke it out, right? So let's count. So we started 90 seconds, and let's count how many times you hit a button, right? So this is 1, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9. So within 10 seconds, you essentially decided on an action 9 times. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but look at the life difference between you and Ken now versus at 90 seconds. At 90 seconds, you were here, right? Okay, 8 times. You get the point I'm making. You might have been blocking low the wrong way because you had been engaged in such a fight that you were constantly pressing buttons, you know? And as a result, you just could not. I mean, that throw was going to whiff regardless. So you should be able to you should be able to block that. There's no way that you would think that is going to not cross under, right? So. Okay, that's fine. See, that particular area, that was pretty decent. Like, you paced yourself, you didn't commit to something, you did a safe move, crouch fierce. That's a great move. You can actually space it out even farther. But that's a great move, especially on their wake up. Because if he does a Shoryu, like a fierce Shoryu, the second and third hits are gonna whiff. Nobody does jab Shoryu from that range, right? Biggest Wiggis says, would it then be better to play reactionary versus a Ken like this? Absolutely. For the most part, Q is a patient character. You have to exhibit a lot of patience, and you have to pick your spots carefully, right? Once you do that successfully, then the other player is going to be less likely to go balls to the walls. And when they stop going balls to the walls, that's when you have successfully conditioned them, and then you can start opening them up with like a more mixed offense. But in the default state, you want to feel the opponent out, and if they are more active, then you need to be less active, because again, 2 GameStop fighters, 2 characters, Ken's gonna win based off of those buttons alone. Okay,
strike now.
So those crouch shorts, you gotta do something else. Parry, care back throw. Parry, slaps. Don't crouch short. Back up, taunt. Carry throw, back up, like dash back, taunt. You want to still stick to the game plan that Q has. Basically, abuse taunts if you can abuse them. If you're getting in his face. I mean, it worked out for you here. However, going back to my statement of, would it work against a good player or a better player? Is a better player going to commit to that Shippu right there? They're not, right? So while you got paid off here, that's not going to work the higher you go up, right? So stick to the game plan. So now you should even be more patient, because now you have some taunts in, you have a gigantic life lead, but you don't have any meter. So be extra patient, right? Once you have meter, Q is dangerous in that he has threat of parry super, right? Parry super does like 55% of your life, right? So, but until that point, nobody's really afraid of Q, right? So you have to be mindful of that. Look at that. He's not gonna have it. See, if I were him, I would roundhouse and then just parry high, because you keep giving him dash punches.
Final round. Engage.
Good. Nice. That's getting too fancy. Just dash punch, dash punch. Greedy. Back up. You're too close. Whenever you're close, you always run the risk of getting thrown into the corner. No matter what character you are, no matter what character the opponent is, any type of successful guess by them can end up throwing away all of the advantage that you have. Now you're in the corner. Imagine if he was like the best Ken in the world. Would you want to be in the corner against the best Ken in the world? Probably not. Don't. Don't make these mistakes. Think about. I mean, he has to scramble to close the gap on the health, the life lead that you have, right? So he has to scramble. But in any of these situations here, you could have guessed your way out, right? I might even think it wouldn't be bad if you guessed your way out because he's so close to death, um, and you have a lot of life plus you have taunt bonus, right? Um, but of course, certainly if you are good
Yeah,
at
that makes
um,
sense.
defending, then of course defending would be better because then you don't have to worry about guessing. But even if you like defended 80% of the time and you timed a parry the other 20% of the time, he's not going to be in a good position because he's so close to you, right? If he were farther away, you would again feel the pressure. Um, but he's so close to you. Imagine if you just like woke up and did a high parry into Carabao throw. Um, I mean, he would have gave away his entire position. So, see, right there. Like I just said, imagine if he woke up, if you woke up and did high parry into Carabao throw. He did crouch medium punch or whatever it was. It would have worked, right? So think about that both ways. You have to be mindful of the danger you put yourself. See, that's just desperation. You ended up okay. Even though you won, that was a terrible string of decisions that you had, and you need to be able to recognize that it was a terrible string of decisions. Um, oh man, this is 18 minutes. I think I'm gonna have to cut it here, but I think I have given you a great deal of advice already for
Yeah, that makes sense.
thanks for the follow, Shake, um, and Kra, sorry. Um, takeaways, right? So erase dash punches from your game, okay? Stop doing crouch short, all right? If you're gonna parry, make sure the punish is worth the parry, okay? Because you have to think about risk versus reward. In the same vein, risk versus reward in situations where you are cornering them or on their wake up or whatever, you need to pick safer options, all right? And of course, don't look at the results. Look at whether the decision you made was a good decision or a bad decision. And the more you try to think in that framework, the easier the answers will come to you over time. So uh, just to show you again why the decision was bad. So now you're both, I mean, he did quite a number on you, and then you did a dash punch, which is completely unsafe. He didn't get the right punish, right? And then you did another dash punch. So just scrambling, right? You should have recognized that after you ate that clearly messed up fireball, like right here, that's a command grab punish right there. Unless he just goes YOLO Shoyu or YOLO Super. But um, that is certainly not the right thing to do. And then you did that. I don't understand. You just pushed him out with your dash punch. That is not gonna reach. Right? But he again messes up low forward Shippu. I don't understand what's going on. And that again, you just submitted um, your advantage to a guess. All right. Luckily, the slap hit him, but just not good decisions. Okay. So think on that, and I really hope you review this just now because take some time, bookmark the archive of this stream, at least for this particular segment, so that you can review over time. because advice is only good if you marinate on it, over and over. Anyway, I'm probably gonna end the stream now. Thank you for joining me, guys, and I'll see you another day. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thank you again for everybody that followed and play their strike and enjoy yourself. Enjoy the weekend. Have a good night.